You're listening to the Perk Up with Kim show. I am your host, Kim O'Neill, and I'm so happy that you're here with me today. On this show, I invite you to embrace all of who you are. Know that anything is possible for you as I talk with really awesome, inspiring guests about topics that allow you to step into a place of ease and flow, positively expanding your energy and tapping into your power. Grab your coffee or tea and come percolate with me. Welcome to the show. You are listening to Perk Up with Kim on healthylife.net, and my name is Kim O'Neill. I'm so happy to be here with you today. I want to preface the show that there is some construction going on outside, so if you do hear any loud banging or any sort of noises at any point, that's what's going on, and we're just going to roll right along with it. So I wanted to share that with you. And you know what? I'm going to take a moment just to express so much gratitude that I am feeling this morning and just in general in my life. I have had this show, Perk Up with Kim, here on healthylife.net for close to 2 years now, and it's amazing how time flies by. And it's been such a wonderful experience for me because, you know, things pop up in our lives that we don't necessarily anticipate popping up, and there are occasionally moments when we go, oh, I need to say yes to this. Yes, I want to do this. And this was one of those for me. And I'm so glad that I said yes to this experience and this journey. And it's been wonderful here at healthylife.net. And so this is actually my last show here on this network. And I just wanted to express gratitude to Healthy Life, to Jay here, who is fantastic. He has his own show also on the network. And of course to Linda, this is her network. And it's just been really a wonderful journey. I do have some updates of what's going on with me. And if you'd like to find out more about that and what's next for me, because I am doing more of the same stuff, but it's a little different. So if you'd like to find out more about that, I invite you to go to my website at KimO'NeillCoaching.com. And O'Neill is O'Neill. And again, KimO'NeillCoaching.com. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and all of those. And you can find all of that on my website. So just wanted to start the show with that. And you know, today's topic, I think, is actually so fitting for this as well. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about exiting your comfort zone. Oh, my goodness. Both maybe an uncomfortable topic, and yet one that is so good when we can talk about this with others and really share our experiences and encourage and support others as we move and grow through life, because things don't stay the same. Life continues to change and evolve. And so it's helpful for us when we can step out of our comfort zones. So with that said, I'm going to be talking about this expansive topic with Maura Sweeney. And Maura Sweeney, let me share with you a little bit about her. She is amazing. If you go to her website is mauraforyou.com, and it's MAURA, the number 4 and the letter U.com, mauraforyou.com. Here's just a little bit about her, some of the things that she's done and currently does. She, at one point, was on the path to being a New Jersey lawyer, and she has an amazing story. She talks about that on her website. But these days, she is an ambassador of happiness, and she is the author of The Art of Happiness. She's a HuffPost blogger, a podcaster herself. She publishes her husband's comic book series called Mike Sports, and she also has her own e-course on emotional intelligence. And she's traveled to like 50-plus different countries, doing over 100 interviews with people, and I'm just so impressed by how much she's done in her life. And so, with that said, so excited to be talking about exiting your comfort zone with Maura Sweeney. So welcome to the show, Maura.
Kim, thank you. I am so thrilled to be on, and I really appreciate being on a show that wants to really talk about expanding yourself and who you are.
Yes. You know, and something I just heard the other day, someone had mentioned that, you know, positive development personal development and personal growth, the way they mentioned that subject was that as if it's something that's unpleasant and uncomfortable and people don't want to do it, and it sounds so daunting. And I got to be honest, I don't know that I've necessarily ever felt that way about personal growth, but I can understand that that can be someone else's experience. And so that's another reason why I think talking about something like exiting your comfort zone is really good to talk about, because it doesn't have to be as unpleasant as we might think. Personal growth and delving into what's going on internally with ourselves, it doesn't have to be as tough and challenging as we sometimes think it is. And we'll get into the reasons why I think that. But I'm so glad to be talking about this with someone else who agrees.
I'm laughing when you talk about comfort zones. I think I've spent many years of my life exiting, or let's say stepping out little by little by little, of whatever comfort zone I've been in. And I think in my case, it was always because something inside of me believed in a better world, a more positive state. And also in my case, I want to say a place that felt freer, but also with less fear, let's say, than the fear that I grew up in. And I think that's probably a place where a lot of us get stuck and why we don't step out of comfort zones.
That's a great point, yes. Well, will you share with us what comes up for you when you think about coming out of your comfort zone? I know you've written about this. What comes up for you that you'd like to share with listeners today?
This is going to sound like, oh, my goodness, it's going to sound heavy. And we'll talk about the fun book I wrote about learning how to dance at age 50, because that really was a big comfort zone for me. But just if your listeners might want to hear this morning I was looking back at pictures of my family. And I have to say that when I was very young, I felt like I was growing up in an environment where there was a lot of fear. We had a lot of deaths in the family. We had a lot of unknown entities. There was always this feeling of, danger's lurking everywhere. And I guess for someone like me who was extremely sensitive, I picked up on collective fears. And so that was really the beginning of where I was. But at the same time, I had this second side of me that always believed in a better, and I would say a beneficial world where everyone profited, everyone felt appreciated, everyone was included, and everything was safe and happy. And I think it was the interplay of those childhood fears and also this inner belief that just kept me stepping out. And then depending on where I've been in life, I just find my latest place to step out.
And what is that? What is your latest place to step out?
Oh, goodness. All right, well, I heard you say that when you were going through my website that maybe I had traveled to around 50 countries.
Yeah.
I think I'm closer or over 60 right now.
Wow.
And then you said I'd been interviewed. Yes, I have been. And I think it's on over 200 sites.
Oh.
And then the third thing is I typically could not get out of my garage. I am so unbelievably challenged when it comes to space that in 10 years that I worked in corporate life, I would have to ask reps in my office to draw me a map and write directions so I could meet them at various sales appointments. And then I'd have to ask them to reverse the map and reverse all the directions so I could drive myself back to the office. And I was just thinking, a couple of weeks ago, I traveled, it wasn't the first time, but on my own, to The Hague. And I was there for about 6 days in a couple of different cities. I was speaking at World Forum. And I thought, I've really come a long way. For the girl that couldn't find her way outside the garage, I'm now getting around the world on my own and even using public transportation. And I haven't fallen off the side of the earth yet.
Bravo to you. That just goes to show anything is possible.
Very true. And I think, Kim, I enjoy using myself as the guinea pig. Because if people read my stories or hear what I'm talking about, they'll think, oh, my gosh, this girl really does have some of her own issues. And if she could get past her issues, there's hope for me, too.
Well, you know what? One more question on that, because I did notice on your website somewhere on there it said, and I wrote it down somewhere, but I'm not seeing it now. You had written something about, from 1982 to 2016, that was your journey to happiness. And so I want to ask, and I have a feeling the answer is no, but did you just start doing all those interviews last year in 2016?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
That was my journey from 1982. That photograph that you were looking at was a picture of me at such a key and pivotal point in my life because I was at the midpoint of law school. It was New Year's Day. I was in New York City with my husband and some friends in front of the Mama Leone's restaurant. And if you look at the picture of me, I look like the dead person walking, very thin, very vacuous, very empty. And I was at a place in life, like maybe many others, but we each find our own space where we're trying very hard to either comply with what the world tells us. In my case, it was what my family expected of me, and that was to be a New Jersey lawyer. But I had taken that route so long, trying to do what others wanted me to do, and I felt that the inside of me was just drying up and dying. And you could see that photograph where I really looked like I had no vitality, no inner power, and no inner joy and life. So I left law school, and the reason why I put the picture from 2016 right beside it was that, think about, it's been decades, and there I am sitting at a TV studio smiling broadly because I took a journey away from something that was not giving me life, stepped out several times outside of my comfort zone and my fears, explored new things, and managed to expand my skills, my interests, develop myself to a point where I feel happy and I just want to say I feel very happy, and I think it shows on the picture.
I think it absolutely shows in every single picture. You just look so vibrant and joyful, and I love that story. I know you talk about that on your website, and I would love for you to share a little bit more about that journey of choosing to step away from the path, to being a lawyer, because that, I know that can be something that's really scary when we think we have to go one way and then we do something that other people are not expecting. It can be sort of scary. What was that like for you, and what helped you to be able to say, I'm going to choose something different?
There was more than one thing. Some people said to me, oh, Maura, that was very courageous of you. And what they don't realize is that I actually got to the point, Kim, one morning when I could not get out of my chair. I couldn't wrest myself out of the chair to get into my car and drive to law school. I had felt for probably, I don't want to say several years, but it might have been, more and more like I was carrying a load of bricks on my shoulder. And I'll tell you, for whatever reason, it was my right shoulder. And just like you might imagine Santa Claus with a big package of presents on his shoulder, I instead was carrying something that looked like that, but it was a body bag of another person named Maura. Now imagine every day you're getting up and you're trying to be someone you're not. And that's why I'm such a storyteller, because everybody has similar type stories they could relate to. And back then, in the early 80s, not nearly as many people went to law school. And if you did go to law school, you were generally expected to stay in the state in which you studied, but more than that, you were going to be in that career practicing law until you retired. So I was really looking at living in a state that wasn't warm. Right now I live in Florida, which always makes me happy. And imagining myself having to put out all of my energy for the next 40 or so years in a profession that required passion that I did not have. So imagine one day I literally could not get myself out of the chair to get to school, and I was so afraid. I just didn't even know what to do. My husband came home from work, and he saw me sitting in the same place. He said, oh, Maura, you're home early or something like that. And he said, did school end up early? And I opened my mouth, Kim, and nothing came out. My lips were quivering, and I thought, oh, my gosh, I'm in trouble. So I had to leave, but I also knew I needed to leave because inside of me, I could envision a different person jumping out of bed every morning, putting her feet on the ground and saying, I can't wait to go out and live my life and do what's important to me. And that particular profession in that state was not going to do it for me. So, I guess we all come to grips. Some of us, it's when we're younger. Some of us at midlife, and others, who knows when. But we get to that point and think, I'm at an impasse. I cannot go another day the way I am because something is fundamentally at odds, let's say, with my heart, with my soul, with my desires. And that's really where I was at age 23.
Wow. Well, and so what was your support system like? So you had your husband, and how did he respond to that, to hearing you?
I'm going to tell you, my husband and I, we met in 1977. We were both sophomores at Boston College. He was my support system, and all these years, he was one guy, even when I met him, he was someone that always wanted to be himself. He wanted to be happy, and he never felt like he had to get anybody else's approval. So I would say he was my support system. And the funny thing, I need to share this with you, I was probably in my late 40s, so figure, many, many years later. I had this growing daughter, and I was reviewing a contract for one of our businesses. And my mother came down to visit in Florida, and she said to me, you know, Maura, it's too bad you never became a lawyer. And I looked at her, I said, well, why? And she said, well, you could have written up this contract yourself. And I said, but why would you have ever wanted me to be in a career I didn't want? And so do you see, it's very funny. Sometimes there are people in life that, you know, that are going to say, go and do what you're supposed to do. And then you'll have other people, it doesn't matter where they're from, that always have a different idea in mind for what's better for you, even if it doesn't necessarily fit you or make you happy.
Absolutely. And I think that's where, gosh, it's so interesting now I think about this. That's both a combination of the comfort zone looking like, well, I have to be this person that other people want me to be. And so there's maybe if you've been doing that for a while, then there's some sort of comfort in that. However, when you also know internally that that's not really you, there's such discomfort. And it sounds like it in your story, and I can relate to this and from my own life too, is that, when we're not listening to ourselves enough, we get to that place where we're just sort of numb and feeling heavy, like we just can't take another day living someone else's life.
Exactly. And when we do somehow connect with what's real for us internally, that heaviness starts to go away. It's never easy. Sometimes it's like trying to move a boulder uphill, especially if we have accustomed ourselves to living a certain way, to occupying a mindset, to being in a box. And but one, I have a need to mention this. When we are in our comfort zones, a lot of times it's because we are people pleasers or because we're afraid of losing relationships or whatever. Here is a lesson I have learned, having spent decades trying to remain in people's good graces and always fearful that, oh, my gosh, if I say one thing wrong, they're not going to like me. Do you know what the ultimate end of the lesson was? People who like you are always going to like you, and the people that you're afraid of losing or the people that you always want to please, you're going to lose them the first go-round anyway, so you might as well get it over with.
Absolutely, yes. Well, and also I think what was the thought that just came to my mind? I wanted to say, we're live, come back to me. I've
been there, don't worry.
Yeah, there was another thought. It'll.
People pleasing? Was it people pleasing or being afraid to step out because people do see you one way versus another? You were talking about the differences between half of you wanting to step out of the comfort zone and the other half telling yourself you need to stay inside of it for whatever reason. Does that help you?
You know what? Thank you. But no, it didn't come back. But that's okay. It'll come back to me because I love all of this that we're talking about. And let me just get back to why we are talking about this. We're talking about exiting our comfort zone because when we don't try new things, we stop evolving and we lose touch with how other things are evolving around us, and we don't grow and our energy gets stuck. And so that's totally, that's obvious in your story. Your energy had gotten stuck. And what I picked up on from what you said earlier, you had mentioned something earlier about as a child, you realized you were picking up on collective fears of other people around you.
Oh, they didn't have a word for it back then, but they do now. They call them empaths. So
yes.
Empathic people.
Yes.
Before I could even speak, I could feel everyone's energy around me, and oftentimes I would take it on as my own, and that's not an easy thing to do, because then I tried fixing everybody and making everybody feel good.
Well, thank you. Exactly. Yes. And that's what I wanted to mention is empaths. And we're going to be getting ready to go to our first break here. But I come across a lot of empaths who don't necessarily know that they're empaths. And I just love that you shared that, because a lot of times we can just think life is so hard and there's so much going on. But a great question to ask ourselves is, who does this belong to? Is this actually mine? Because it isn't necessarily always. So Anyway, that's a whole other topic we can get into. We are going to go to our first break. So if you want to find out more about Maura, you can go to her website at maura4u.com, M-A-U-R-A, the number 4, the letter U.com. And stay right there, though, because we're going to come back and we're going to talk more about this awesome topic to help encourage and inspire you to step out of your comfort zone. So stay right there. No matter how your life looks today, your possibilities are endless. You deserve all the joy, peace, and excitement in life that you desire. Life doesn't come with a manual, and that's why personal coaching is so awesome. Moving forward is easier. Creating a new reality for yourself, healing your mind and body, it's all possible. Visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com today to learn more and schedule your free consultation.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now, this same technology is available to you. They have the best earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. earthchannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things, like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget, web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now, so come to earthchannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 800-849-8978. That's 800-849-8978.
Right now, I know you're in the middle of a break during my show, the Perk Up with Kim show, and I'm so glad you could join us today. Are you having fun, maybe feeling inspired, a little rejuvenated? Reassured that it's all going to be okay, because you are super strong and can get through and accomplish anything. I know this. Sign up at KimO'NeillCoaching.com/contact to make sure you always know when the next show is going to air. And hey, if no one's told you yet today, you're doing a great job. Okay, I gotta go. Show's about to start back up.
Attention Kmart shoppers. Now you get Kmart on HealthyLife.net. Kmart carries over 70,000 items like Martha Stewart's Everyday Products, apparel by Jacqueline Smith, Joe Boxer, Route 66, appliances, jewelry, and more. Everything you need. Plus, you'll get exciting weekly promotions. Go to HealthyLife.net's homepage and click on Kmart, and then you're there. And you even avoided the crowds.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
Welcome back. You're listening to Perk Up with Kim, and I'm talking with Maura Sweeney. We're talking about getting out of your comfort zone, and right before the break, we actually kind of, went into a little bit of a different direction, talking about empaths, but I love that came up because I've learned that not a lot of people know what empaths are, know that they are empaths even, and I think it's a really key piece of information. So if you resonated with some of what Maura was saying about, picking up on other people's fears or just feelings, can even be to the extent of illnesses. I mean, there's really a lot in there. If that resonates with you in any way, look that up. Look that term up, empath, and you might find some relief in learning more about that. So, Maura, did you have anything else you wanted to share about that?
Oh, empaths, yes. I'd love to give an example of how strongly we can feel when we are empathic and we take things on ourselves that really have nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And I think it might be a funny story or not, but one of the things that I have never done is I have never so much as taken a penny from anyone that I shouldn't have taken. In fact, I'm always the one giving to others. And yet I realized a couple of years ago, why is it that every time I go through airport security, I'm opening up everything I have. I'm offering people everything in my wallet. And my husband said to me, well, why are you doing this? Or if I go to a clothing store, let's say in New York City where they've got the security people up front, I'll immediately offer my bag and say, would you like my bag before I come in? And I act as if I think I'm guilty of being someone who steals, even though I have never done that in my life. And I had the worst experience just several years ago. We had an animator who was doing work for us. I put a check in the mail to pay him for work he had done, and the check went to his old address, never got to him, and he called me or emailed me. Well, Kim, I wanted to jump out of my skin. I thought, does this man think I'm shorting him or pulling a fast one on him or cheating him? Never in my life had I ever stolen anything or shorted anyone, and yet I was carrying within my being this idea that somehow I had been one who stole from others. That's an extreme case of someone who would take something on themselves as an empath when it has absolutely nothing to do with them. So it is a good thing to ask yourself, is this me I'm dealing with, or is it somebody or something else that I just need to say goodbye to it?
Maura, thank you so much for sharing that. You have no idea. I think I am the one that needed to hear that story because I've actually had that exact same thing my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, the stealing thing, and it's just bizarre because I know that that's not me, and yet, I've carried it my entire life. That is so funny. So anyway, thank you for saying that, because here's the thing. I've had people call me empaths, but I don't necessarily see myself as an empath. I see myself as more empathic, and I can recognize other people who are empaths. But it could just be, maybe just exploring the topic myself a little more. How interesting.
It is, especially when you called it bizarre, because I thought that was an interesting word for it, because we take on things that really aren't ours.
That is funny. Well, I'm actually so grateful you just shared that story, because I actually never saw that experience of my own as being possibly related to being an empath. So I'm glad you mentioned it.
Oh, good. Well, funny.
Yes, very funny. Well, okay, so we're talking about getting out of your comfort zone. And what are some things when you think of what can help someone get out of their comfort zone, what might be some tips that you would share with someone?
Well, one of the big things I suggest for everyone is make sure they carve out a little bit of time for themselves every day. Sometimes there are moms that have 3 kids running around the house or preschoolers, and they think, my goodness, I have no time. But even to take 5 quiet minutes in the morning, 5 quiet minutes that you carve out without the cell phone, without the TV, without the radio, without anything, and you just quiet yourself down, breathe a little bit, put your hand over your heart, because what that does is it moves your thoughts away from, that constant monkey mind that goes around. And what it does is really help you connect with who you are. And I always have a little journal. I've done this for years. And whatever question is coming to mind, I will write it down, and I'll pose that question, I want to say almost to my heart, because I really believe, Kim, it's so simple. It's as if our heart already knows. I call it our inner GPS to knowing or to our true north. We know what makes us happy. We know who we are on the inside, but because we're always being bombarded by ideas and other types of energy from the outside world, we negate and neglect and even, I would say, cover over that quiet person inside of us that really wants to speak. So we could ask it any question like, how about this? What did I love to do, or what did I want to do when I was a little child? Before the world told me I couldn't do it. And you'd be surprised as you quiet down, put your hand on your chest, and ask yourself a question. The answer will come back. It may not be in that moment, but it could be as you're out driving in the car, riding a bike, and all of a sudden it's like, that's what's important to me, or that's what's been bothering me, or that's what I need to address in my life. And to follow that little path really helps us step out of those very confined places or confusing spaces we're in, and to get a little breather as we start to live out of our true energy rather than sometimes false energies or negative energies that come our way.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm big on asking questions. I find it so interesting and exciting when I ask a question and I maybe have no clue of what the answer is, and maybe even a smidgen of doubt that anything is going to come through. But just by choosing to ask the question, I immediately open the space, and it's amazing that sometimes I do immediately get an answer, but other times, like you said, it comes later when I'm driving, when I'm in the shower, doing something else, and randomly the answer comes through, and I'm like, oh, that's it. And questions are so powerful.
I think so, too. I'm great on asking questions. I don't always have the answers, but I'm a great question asker. And I need to offer this because the idea was not mine, but one day I was listening to some woman speak, and she said, if you really want to know who you're supposed to be, ask yourself the question aloud. So one day I was in my kitchen several years ago, and I said, who am I supposed to be in this world? I think that was the question. And it came right out of my mouth. Now, this is funny. I'm supposed to be a dignitary. And I'm like, what? I'm supposed to be a dignitary? Well, do you know that was way before I got the title Ambassador of Happiness.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't it crazy? It was before I started writing about happiness and traveling and writing about all kinds of life experiences. And I was actually given that name, the Ambassador of Happiness. And I thought, doesn't the answer sound bizarre and crazy and outlandish? But now I have just an ambassadorship title that really doesn't exist anywhere else, the Ambassador of Happiness. Pretty funny.
That is amazing, yes. And who gave you that title?
The first time it was ever referenced was when I was invited to speak at the inaugural Nelson Mandela Day celebration.
Oh, my goodness.
And I had several dignitaries coming up, and they were preparing their their brochure. And they said, well, Maura, what is your title? I'm thinking, well, I'm a blogger. I write for myself. I write about happiness, and I travel a lot. And they said, well, we've got the answer. We're going to call you the Ambassador of Happiness. And people were like, wow, Maura, that's exactly who you are. And then I got a phone call, someone through LinkedIn who does a very large radio talk show, and he said, Maura, tell me you have not already trademarked that name. He said, I have interviewed everybody, but I never interviewed the Ambassador of Happiness. Oh. And he was the man that told me to do it. But all I did was I asked a question. I got this bizarre, crazy, out-of-the-box answer.
There you go.
But I kept doing what I liked. And somehow what came back to me was a form of the very answer I got. An Ambassador of Happiness, I need to be a dignitary. Very funny, but there's one for everybody, and maybe it is the best cake baker in your neighborhood. It doesn't matter.
Oh, Maura,
whatever makes you happy.
I love it. We have to take another break, so stay right there, and we'll be right back. Sometimes we wish we could practically do nothing and still feel better. Guess what? You kinda can. When you schedule a Reiki or guided meditation session, you can just be and receive and allow the energy to shift. There's relief. These energy sessions can be done alone or combined with a coaching session. Find out more at KimO'NeillCoaching.com and click on the Energy Work tab.
Get your moto going at the Motorola store online. Visit the HealthyLife.net advertiser page, click on Motorola, and you'll discover a whole new world of phones. Plus, you can get great deals on phones, with or without contract. That's great, Moto. And don't forget, they even have Bluetooth and other phone accessories. But that's not all. Want more Moto? Motorola has home and office phones and two-way radios. And for the best Moto ever, Motorola has great specials right online. Go to the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on the Motorola banner now and get your moto going.
Yes! You did it! You got the job interview. Now all you need to do is prepare. You aren't sure how or what to say? Guess what? We can do this together then. One of my specialties is helping you to know how to present your best self for an employment interview. We'll practice, you'll feel confident. You got this. Visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com or call 562-273-2546.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
welcome back. You're listening to Perk Up with Kim. I am Kim O'Neill, and I'm talking with Maura Sweeney about exiting your comfort zone. And Maura, I absolutely loved your story about how you were given the title of Ambassador of Happiness. That just so perfectly illustrates how when we ask a question, you asked yourself, who am I supposed to be? And the answer, a dignitary, came through. Now, I can imagine, myself going, what? Huh? And trying to rationalize that answer and come up with something different. But you didn't, and look what else showed up to show you, no, I meant that. You are a dignitary. Here's the title.
Well, Kim, I think it probably goes back to what I believed even as a young child. We have a world that we all live in. It's got a certain construct, and we all operate collectively within it. But I always saw the world as a world beyond what I was looking at. And so I saw everyone as being better, brighter, happier, more cheerful. And so think about this. Unless we're willing to give ourselves a little bit of time and a little bit of space to find out who we are within, we may never become an expression of the better world, the better society, the better people. And, here's something I always hope that I can underscore. Not everybody wants to travel to places like Kosovo and Macedonia like I've done recently. But people do want to do other things. And it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I write so that I can equip and inspire other people to do what they like, what's within their hearts, within their souls, and those very things that they're looking to express. It doesn't mean we're expert at them, but as we give ourselves opportunity to step out and practice and create and develop skills, we become literally something new. It's almost like we could either decide to be the very small bud that we never allowed to bloom in the sunshine, or we put ourselves in the sunshine and we allow those outward, whatever it is that covers over a little flower, and allow them to open up and say, you know what, I might even be a little afraid to see what's in here, but I think it's going to be something good, so let me try and get out of that comfort zone and step out and explore a bit.
Yes, I think a lot of times we think we need permission to be able to change, but just being a being, I think of us as a spiritual being in a physical body, and just being here on earth in this space, we're meant to expand and grow and change. And as you were talking, I was recalling that one quote or whatever it is about if you want to move, then move. You're not a tree, something like that. And I don't know if there's anyone listening who's thinking, but I don't think I can change or I'm not allowed to because, yes, maybe other people have sort of written your life story. Well, I mean, you have a say too. It's your life. And, some of the things I had written down some notes of, how else to move beyond your comfort zone. And I was recalling something that I thought was a funny experience. Is giving yourself an incentive, because it can be hard to maybe take some of those first steps, but giving yourself an incentive for either after you do that big scary thing, that has sometimes pulled me through. I think, oh gosh, I gotta make this phone call and I'm really scared. I don't know how the person's going to respond. But then, maybe I'll plan something else to do after the phone call. And that's kind of like my reward. Like, yes, I did it. I spoke my truth. I did what I needed to do and now I get to reward myself. Or the funny part is I had a friend, and I won't mention her name, but I had a friend who was trying to motivate herself to getting back into going to the gym on a regular basis. And I thought it was so hilarious that one of the ways that she would motivate herself, and it worked, is she would go get McDonald's before she went to the gym. So she'd go to...
She goes out for ice cream after she works out. I don't know. Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah, she'd go get McDonald's before the gym and enjoy it herself. And then she still went to the gym afterwards. And then she lost weight. I mean, she was doing a lot of exercise. But that's what fed her, emotionally. And, anyway, I just wanted to, I don't know, that's something that's helped me. And I wanted to add that.
I like that. that. And, you know, that reminds me even of my daughter. I had homeschooled her when she was younger. And I remember she would set up all these goals, but she would always say to me, okay, Mom, if I get my work done early, what's our surprise on Friday? And it would either be a movie or we'd go out to do something special or out on a field trip. And she would always do that to give herself a reward at the end of her work.
Nice.
And you know what my thing was? And when I wrote this book about exiting the comfort zone, my story about a childhood dream of learning how to dance, and I don't begin doing it until I'm almost 50. And what kept me going through it all, Kim, was this idea that I was going to feel happy and free at the end of it. So the journey at times for me was harrowing. I was at classes. I felt like the dumbest person in class, and I was. I made so many mistakes. People were laughing at me. I used to come home sometimes. I would want to cry because I thought, I can't believe I'm this terrible. Oh. But I kept at it, and my thing was this. I knew I could look backwards and think, I know the first time I saw people dance, and it didn't mean like they were doing ballet dance, but literally just going out and dancing. That feeling that it gave me, or that I attached myself to, was such a feeling of freedom and joy and like poetry in motion, that feeling kept me going. And then one day I said to my daughter, who's now grown up, I said, well, Kaylee, aren't you amazed I got through a whole college performance and I didn't ruin anything on stage? And she wasn't all that impressed, and she said to me, well, Mom, I always knew you could do it. And I said, well, why is that? And this is what her answer was. She said, because you wanted to. And Kim, if there's a comfort zone we're in, but there's something we really want, whether it's to do, to be, to express, to explore, that really wanting it will oftentimes be the force that propels us through the embarrassment, in my case, you know, the falling, the tripping, the looking foolish, and all of that, because we know at the end of it, we will feel happy, we'll feel free, we'll feel fully expressed, or whatever it may be. So my case was, well, at least as my daughter told me, she was absolutely right. I was able to do it ultimately because it was something I really wanted. And that's a good motivator, too. What is it you really want? And if you know you really want it, you're willing to push through even the fears, the discomfort, the embarrassment, and everything else along the way.
Absolutely. That's a great one. And I read your story, and it was hilarious. I love how you really share with us that you were in this vulnerable space of, you know, not necessarily being the shining star dancer in the room, and yet you stuck with it. And it's apparent how much you wanted it because you stuck with it. And I won't give this story away, actually, but I thought it was a fantastic story. So I cannot believe this, but we are actually going to have to go to our last break, and then we'll come back for a little bit more and wrap up the show. So stay right there. We have more to share. So stay right there. We'll be right back. No matter how your life looks today, your possibilities are endless. You deserve all the joy, peace, and excitement in life that you desire. Life doesn't come with a manual, and that's why personal coaching is so awesome. Moving forward is easier. Creating a new reality for yourself, healing your mind and body, it's all possible. Visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com today to learn more and schedule your free consultation.
These shoes are made for walking, jumping, running, and just plain style. Over 32,000 styles. Skechers, an award-winning global leader in lifestyle footwear. And now you can get Skechers without walking, jumping, or running. You can get them by clicking. Scroll down HealthyLife.net's homepage and click. You can check out Skechers, high-quality shoes in styles for men, women, and children. So get in style. Get Skechers today and start walking, running, jumping, and strutting in style.
Right now, I know you're in the middle of a break during my show, the Perk Up with Kim show, and I'm so glad you could join us today. Are you having fun, maybe feeling inspired, a little rejuvenated? Reassured that it's all going to be okay, because you are super strong and can get through and accomplish anything. I know this. Sign up at KimO'NeillCoaching.com/contact to make sure you always know when the next show is going to air. And hey, if no one's told you yet today, you're doing a great job. Okay, I gotta go. Show's about to start back up.
If you like to spend your television viewing time learning about some of the things that you may have missed in history class, or if history was your favorite subject, then you should check out the link to the History Channel on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. Order DVD sets by series or by subject matter right from our homepage while you still enjoy your favorite HealthyLife.net show.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
And we are back. You're listening to Perk Up with Kim, and I'm speaking with Maura Sweeney about exiting your comfort zone. And Maura, what I wanted to add to that, because I totally agree, you were talking about remembering, what you really want and really being connected to what you want, because that helps you step out of your comfort zone. What I also hear in that is, for me, it comes back to remembering why you're doing this thing that that you want to move beyond, why you want to step out of your comfort zone. What is that motivating force? And it sounds like for you it was this connection that you had with happiness and joy from when you were a kid, and how you experienced dance and wanting to connect with that. And for some other people, I know for me, what helps me move out of my comfort zone at times is, thinking about when I'm at the end of my life, what do I want to look back on and say, yeah, I did that, or at least I tried, I gave it my best shot. And that's one thing that really helps move me beyond things that if I didn't do that, I maybe never would. And so I want to add that, that can be a source of inspiration.
Oh, Kim, I love that. And, I think about that in terms of legacy. That, your listeners are probably wondering, gee, what question should I ask my heart today or my soul? How about this one? How do I want to be remembered?
Yes.
When I'm gone, when this supposed body of mine, stops functioning, how do I want to be remembered? And do you know the very first blog I ever wrote was called Tombstones? Now, it could be because I'm left-handed and I always saw the end of things first. But I concluded, it was actually a funny blog, that there were only 2 words I'd like to be remembered by. She loved. That's it.
Oh.
And that is also a feeling. It's a motivator. It's something that I would like to know that by the time I left, if there's ever been a signature or let's say an atmosphere I left within my wake, it would be the atmosphere of love. There's no greater feeling we could ever hope for in this world than to know that feeling of love.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? Here's what I wanted to say earlier, is that our comfort zones, I think they're comfort zones because they're familiar. But oftentimes we mistake what's familiar for being safe or something that we might actually enjoy. But we can be comfortable and familiar even with things we don't like. And did that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense. This is the reason why it's good to get by yourself even for 5 minutes, because we need to know, do I really like this?
Yes.
Is this my idea? Is this my taste?
Absolutely.
Do I really want to buy this car?
Yes.
Or did somebody tell me it's a great idea? And you're right, familiar, we assume that what we hear so often from things around us are actually our ideas or our likes. And they may not be, but we need to take that little bit of space and be free enough to ask ourselves. And then once we get the answer, to step out. Sometimes it's just a little baby step at a time, Kim, but we start to connect with who we are on the inside, and we begin to get our energy back. We get our hopefulness back. We become a little more expansive. Everything you're saying. And then the other thing, too, is we really overcome a lot of our own negative energies with positive energies.
Yes. Well, so this show goes by so quickly. I want to go ahead and start to just, I want to note some takeaways for listeners today, and even just for you and me. I love talking about stuff like this, and it's so good to recall, yeah, that's right. This is helpful information. This is something I can apply to my life today. So some takeaways. I've been taking notes as we've been talking here today. For anyone that's wanting to step outside of their comfort zone, here are some things you can do, things that Maura and I have shared today. Carve out time for yourself. Carve out time for yourself. And Maura was saying, put your hand over your heart and, ask yourself questions such as, who am I supposed to be? And see what comes through. And, and be easy with yourself. It may come immediately or it may not. Doesn't have to be right or wrong about it, but ask yourself and know the answer will come. Maura also talked about journaling, which is really good. Information can just really start to flow when you journal. And I mentioned earlier, give yourself an incentive. If there's something you really want to do and something that's really kind of holding you back, give yourself something bigger on the other end of it and allow that to pull you through. Remember what it is that you want, what your why is, what's your bigger why, what's the legacy you want to leave. And allow these things to support you as you move through your comfort zones. We're born into the world and, wherever we are and with our surroundings and people around us one way, but we don't have to stay there. We don't have to stay stuck. And it's okay. It's okay to evolve. It's okay to change. It's okay to try something different. I know every time that I've chosen to do something different in my life, as scary as it's been, there's always like someone somewhere that says, oh, thank you for doing that, because that gave them courage or inspiration to do something, of similar nature in their life. And so same for you. Whatever it is you're wanting to do, I bet you there's going to be someone who's looking at you thinking, wow, now I can do what I want to do as well. So I just wanted to share those takeaways. And Maura, thank you for being on today's show. Is there anything extra that you wanted to add to this topic before we close it out?
Well, I'd love to just give you a funny remark. When you said you were going to talk about takeaways, I thought, oh, my gosh, is Kim going to ask me to give all the takeaways? I forgot what I said. I just hope that whoever was listening today feels more hopeful, more uplifted, and also more potentially empowered as they start to take authority that belongs to them rather than giving up their authority and sense of self to everybody and everything around them. And the last thing I would say is I hope people do go visit my website, mauraforyou.com, or look for me, Maura Sweeney, on Amazon, and look into some of my books. They're great reads. They're all story-based, and they have things at the end of them that will encourage the reader to kind of look at their own life and think, okay, how am I going to deal with this issue? And they'll always feel better on the other side. So, Kim, thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. It was great talking with you, Maura, and I'm so glad we were able to even just talk about, being an empath and really going in that direction. That, in a way, that felt like it came out of left field, but I always trust what comes up, or at least I'm practicing trusting what comes up, because I bet you, other than me benefiting from you sharing some of your experiences, there were listeners that were able to benefit from that as well. And so, if you're listening and something came up for you as Maura was talking about being an empath, feel free to reach out to us and share that with us. Let us know. And like Maura said, on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, we're both on these sites. And let us know, was this show helpful to you? What came out of it for you? We'd love to hear from you. And I just want to wrap up and say, remember that every day is a new day. No matter how challenging or frustrating today was for you, or yesterday was for you, last week, last year, we can always choose to start anew. We can always choose to do that. And, we are actively creating our world, one person at a time, one thought at a time. And it helps when we are able to find these ways to get out of our comfort zone. And again, be easy with yourself. It doesn't have to be some big dramatic shift that you have to make at one time. Take baby steps. And with each little shift that you take, you're going to find the ease in being able to do these things that once felt uncomfortable. They will become more comfortable. So I just wanted to leave with that. And again, this was the last Perk Up with Kim show, and I've been so grateful and enjoyed having this show for all those that listened. But it is not the end. There is more. So I do invite you to go to my website, KimO'NeillCoaching.com/radio. And again, O'Neill is O'Neill, and you can stay connected to me and find out what's next, because there's definitely a lot more. So thank you for being here today. Have a fantastic day, and remember that every day is a new day, and there are amazing things awaiting you. Have a wonderful day. Sometimes we wish we could practically do nothing and still feel better. Guess what? You kinda can. When you schedule a Reiki or guided meditation session, you can just be and receive and allow the energy to shift. There's relief. These energy sessions can be done alone or combined with a coaching session. Find out more at KimO'NeillCoaching.com and click on the Energy Work tab.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Yes! You did it! You got the job interview! Now all you need to do is prepare. You aren't sure how or what to say? Guess what? We can do this together then. One of my specialties is helping you to know how to present your best self for an employment interview. We'll practice, you'll feel confident. You got this. Visit KimO'NeillCoaching.com or call 562-273-2546.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.